Ladies and gentlemen, today is an exciting day here at the TechSource headquarters because for the first time in a very long time, I get to build a sick high-end gaming PC that I get to finally take home and enjoy every single day. I build PCs here on the channel a lot. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy every single one of them, but when I get to finally build a PC for myself that I can enjoy, it hits different. I'm a very patient guy, okay? It's been 10 months since I took apart BigRed version 3. I took it apart because I was so excited for NVIDIA's new graphics cards because I was going to plan on building my dream gaming PC that year. But unfortunately, COVID came out of nowhere and slapped us all in the butt cheeks. We were all on lockdown, factories were shut down, and things went out of stock. Toilet paper, paper towels, and of course PC parts, specifically graphics cards. So unfortunately, I was not able to build my dream gaming PC, and I've been kind of stuck in limbo ever since. But you know what, guys? I'm done waiting. I decided to build myself a PC. That way it can bring me some happiness and some joy until I can get around to building my dream gaming PC, hopefully later this year. If there's a moral to the story, it's don't sell any of your PC parts until you have the part that you're buying physically in your hand. Okay, I've learned the hard way. A lot of people have learned the hard way, definitely. Just because there's a new PC part being announced doesn't mean you can buy it on launch day. Okay, it will shatter your dreams, trust me. But yeah, definitely a life lesson to learn. If you guys want to pick up a fresh Windows 10 Pro CD key, then make sure to click the link below and visit yourcdkey.com. You guys can grab one for less than $15 using my code TS20 at checkout. So these are all the parts I'll be using inside the build. Let's quickly go over them, starting with the behemoth of the case. This is the Asus Helios in white. This is gonna put the big in big red. Funny story of the case, actually. This was accidentally sent to me by Asus, and I opened it in the unboxing video, if you guys remember, and I kind of just fell in love at first sight because I didn't even know a white version of the Helios existed, and I thought this would be a really cool case to work with. The only thing I don't really like too much about the case is the silver accents over here and some of the black trim inside. It kind of goes against the all-white theme of the case, but again, this is temporarily, so I'm gonna deal with it until I can get around to building my dream PC. All right, moving on to the processor. Yes, I know it's a change of pace, you guys. You're shocked to see an Intel CPU. So two reasons why I'm going with this. Number one, I'm actually sick and tired of AMD builds. Every other build I'm doing on the channel is literally AMD for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing AMD builds as well. Yes, AMD's kicking ass in the CPU field, 100%, but I want to change up the pace and go with an Intel build. That's reason number one. Reason number two, I want to go with an Intel CPU as an excuse to use that motherboard, and we'll get more into that in a bit. Also, the reason why I'm not going with 11th gen CPUs this time is because I wasn't too thrilled with their announcement, you guys. The 11900K has an 8-core 16-thread processor, whereas the 10900K has a 10-core 20-thread processor. And for someone who actually does both gaming and editing, I think this is a much better chip for me specifically. I value core count over clock speeds. That's just me. And of course, we're gonna be throwing that inside the NZXT N7 Z490 motherboard. This is such a gorgeous board, and you guys are probably banging your head against the keyboard and asking, why are you going with an NZXT motherboard when literally everything else in your build is Asus? Why? I was debating on going with the Asus Prime Z490 again, just like I did with the Frost build, but I wasn't too happy with that motherboard, you guys, because it was missing some features that I really thought was important to me, like built-in Bluetooth and wireless AC. Well, this board has those features, plus I think it's gonna look amazing inside the system. I've actually used their Z390 board before, and I've had nothing but great experiences with them. Not only is it a great looking board, but the BIOS is user-friendly, and I've had really stable overclocks in the past. So I'm expecting to have the same experience carried over to their Z490 platform. For memory, we are tossing in a 64GB kit from Corsair. This is the Dominator Plats in white. It is going to look glorious. These are running at 3600 MHz with a CL timing of 18. Now for storage, we're keeping it simple, but we're also going big at the same time. So I'm gonna toss in an 8TB M.2 SSD from Sabrent. This is going to be plenty of storage for all my games and video editing files. Of course, we gotta toss in a beautiful white card to complement the all-white theme we're going for. So we're throwing in the Asus Strix RTX 3080. It was so hard to get my hands on this card, but alas, after waiting over a month, I finally managed to grab one. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a 3090, but this will do just fine until I can pick up two 3090s for my dream gaming PC. Now I do have some streamers here for the 24-pin and the 8-pin cables for the graphics card and for the CPU as well, but I'm not really sure if I'm gonna go with these. It just depends on how it will look inside the case towards the end. I do have a backup, fortunately, ready to go. I did order some custom cables from CableMod with the white and red color scheme, so we'll have to see what works or what looks the best towards the end of the build. So we'll put this off for now. And of course, I had to go with some white cable extensions from Corsair. This is going to replace the nasty stock black front panel connectors from the case. Obviously, we gotta match the theme, right? What else do we have here? We got the all-white ROG Strix 850 watt fully modular power supply. Currently, in my opinion, the sexiest power supply available in the market. Something else from Asus, we have the LC360 RGB cooler for the CPU, but of course, we're gonna be swapping the fans with, again, currently, I would say, in my opinion, the best RGB fans in the market. The Lianli Unifan SL120s. The Corsair QL120s used to be my favorite RGB fans until this hit the market. And oh boy, let me just say that these are the best looking fans, in my opinion, in the market. But you guys will see how it looks like with the build finally complete. But yeah, guys, these are all the parts I'll be using inside the build. Super excited to get started. Let's go. What the hell? Why is this in black? Well, I have been bamboozled. Unless I'm colorblind, but this appears to be the white version of the N7, and that right there is a black version. Oh my god. I'm such a stooge. Well, this changes things. Luckily, the covers are easily removable, so I think I'm gonna be... Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to paint them. So luckily, I do have some extra paint left over from the Kobe build when I spray painted the RTX 3070 from EVGA. I really don't want to, but I have no choice. This is not gonna look that good inside the PC. So let's take this apart and get started. I think you can just pop these off, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Okay, for the others, I'm guessing you're gonna have to remove, yep, there they are. Screws in the back. All right, there goes the heat splitters. Here's DAC cover, chipset cover. I wonder if I can remove, oh, I can, okay. Come on. Oh, it was on a clip, okay. So perfect, we got all the black pieces off the board, so it's gonna make the painting job so much easier. I don't have to wrap some parts of the motherboard in painter's tape, so that's good. I definitely don't want to get any paint on the thermal pad, so I'm just gonna peel it off the heatsink and stick it back on the VRMs. So a lot of you guys were asking me how I painted the EVGA RTX 3070 in the Kobe build. Well, this is the paint I used. I always go with the Rust-Oleum. It's my go-to paint for all the paint jobs I do for all my PC parts. And I go with the semi-gloss option because matte to me is a bit too bland and glossy is too reflective. So I feel like semi-gloss is the sweet spot. This sticks to any surface, especially metal, really easily without having the need to sand the surface. So all I do is just grab some microfiber cloth and then I wipe down the surface that I'm going to spray, just to make sure there's no fingerprint oil or dust and dirt on there. So then I'm going to proceed to apply one coat on all the parts. All right, so first coat of paint is done. We're gonna let this dry for about 15-20 minutes I'm gonna come back and apply the second coat. So in the meantime, let's turn the fan on and we'll be right back. All right, so while we wait for the paint to dry, let's continue on with the build. We can go ahead and install the processor. Pop open the socket. Okay, why is there tape on this damn CPU? Who did this? I don't like it when they write something on the CPU with a permanent marker. Grab the CPU by its sides, gently lower it on the socket. Beautiful. Close the flap, lock down the lever, and put this cover away. I guess we can pop in the 8 terabyte M.2 SSD next. Can you guys believe that there's 8 terabytes of storage on this tiny thin device? That's crazy. All right, we can do memory next, I guess. Oh man, tell me those aren't the sexiest RAM sticks you've ever seen. All right, so we can't do anything else on the motherboard without the covers, so let's put this aside and prep the cooler next. Welcome to the elite Republic of Gamers community. I like that. Asus actually does have some pretty cool white RGB fans, but unfortunately, because of consistency, I do want to stick to just Lee and Lee. If Asus decides to sell these separately, then maybe I'll consider going with all Asus fans for a build, but unfortunately they don't have those available for purchase. Oh man, this is a nice looking cooler. Although I'm not liking that chrome bracket on there, so I wish I would have seen this earlier. I'm gonna have to paint that white too, unfortunately. But guys, can we just appreciate the fact that Asus gave us white cables? Look at this. Out of all the other manufacturers out there that make white AIOs, I think Asus is the only one, don't quote me, but I feel like Asus is the only one, or one of the very few companies that actually provide white cables to complement their AIO. That is awesome. So in addition to painting the mounting bracket in white, I've also decided to take the extra mile and paint the thumb screws as well, just so there's more consistency around the AIO. All right, let's take a close look at our beauties. Oh, looking pretty good so far, just after one coat. So I think these are ready for the second coat. All right, while we're waiting for the second coat to dry, I think we can take this time to hook up the fans to the radiator. I don't know why it took this long for a company to come up with such a genius way of daisy chaining RGB fans. Aside from just how clean these fans look, I mean, one of the other things that made these fans so popular is the connectivity. Who would have thought you can just slide in 2 fans together and not have to worry about a bunch of cables coming out of each individual fan? Truly such an awesome and genius idea, Lee and Lee. You guys have definitely outdone yourselves. All right, so I got all 3 fans hooked up. Now I need to figure out the orientation of the radiator before I hook these fans up to the radiator. So I've decided to mount the radiator this way for a change, with the tubes running down from the left side. I think this will look a lot cleaner because that way the 24-pin cable will be visible, and then you won't have the AIO tubes running across the 24-pin. All right, so these fans will be positioned as exhaust. All right, so the AIO is ready to go, but unfortunately I can't install it just yet without the motherboard, and we're still waiting for the paint to dry up, so that's not gonna happen today. I can take this time to remove the stock fans on there, so we have a single 140 in the back and a triple 140 in the front as well. So these got to go. Guys, is it only me, or are you also annoyed when manufacturers put in a clear side panel in the back of the case? Like, isn't the point of this side panel to cover up all the mess and the cable work in the back of your PC? So, like, what's the point of making this clear? I don't understand. But anyways, one of the things I actually like about this case is how easy it is to remove both of the panels from the front and the back. You just press this button over here and it pops open. Super convenient. You get this cable management cover also on the back, which is kind of transparent, so you can still see the cable work. And then you get a bunch of Velcro straps in the back, which is really cool. We're not going to use any of the fans, so we're going to just disconnect it from the fan hub. We'll do the front three as well while we're back here. We're not going to need this built-in GPU sag bracket as well, since we'll be mounting the graphics card vertically, so we can take this off as well. All right, so these fans will be going in front of the case as intake. There are two ways I can hook this up on the bracket, actually. I can do it on the outer side, which will be more visible inside the case, or I can kind of tuck it away on the inside. So I think because of how gorgeous these fans are, I want to be able to see them from inside the case. So I'll mount them on the outer bracket. Here's a quick little tip if you guys want to manage the cable from your rear fan in your case. If you don't like it kind of dangling like this, what you can do is use a cable clip. And yes, they do come in white as well, which is perfect. All right, so we're pretty much done with phase one. Unfortunately, I can't put the board in just yet because we're still waiting for the paint to dry. So that's gonna be the very next day. And then I can hook up the AIO. Actually, I forgot, we do have the power supply. So let's hook this up as well. And then we're gonna obviously hook up the graphics card at the end. So let's get this figured out actually. These cables, oh, they're actually, they're sleeved. Nice, okay. Ooh, yeah, look at that. So beautiful. So these streamers are technically extensions. They plug into actual power supply cables. So whatever I do, I'm gonna have to hook up cables to this power supply regardless, even if I decide to use this or not. So I think it'll just make sense to plug in these custom cables in there. And if I decide not to go with the streamers, I have these already hooked up and I don't have to do any additional work. Then the single 8-pin EPS. Believe it or not, but the RTX 3080 Strix comes with triple 8-pin PCI connectors, which is interesting. The final 8-pin EPS. So the one obvious downside of going with custom cables is that you can't change the colors, right? They're pretty much set. Whereas if I do go with the streamers, I can practically change it to any color I want and even have some pretty cool effects. So that's why I'm leaning more towards the streamers. But again, it depends on how this looks inside the case towards the end. That's going to be a deciding factor. I just noticed there's a hard drive cage underneath the power supply shroud, and we can definitely use the extra space from the cables, and plus we're not installing a hard drive, so we can remove that. Ah, crap. All right, so that is pretty much all I'm doing today. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the build tomorrow once all the paint dries. So I will see you guys in a bit. All right, it is now the next day here, and I gotta say I am super happy with the paint job. Everything came out pretty much perfect. Unfortunately, this light doesn't do it justice, but look at the motherboard cover, you guys. You can't even tell this was originally black. It's gonna be perfect once I install that. Of course, we painted the AIO mounting bracket. Thumb screws had to go also. And then here's the rest of the motherboard parts on there. Perfect. We can finally add this on the board and finish up the build. Take a look at that, guys. Tell me that doesn't look 1,000 times better. I'm also gonna clean the CPU a little bit. It's looking really dirty. All right, good as new. A quick tip for you guys, if you're trying to clean your CPU or if you're trying to wipe off any thermal paste, make sure you are using 99% isopropyl alcohol. This always gets the job done. And don't use toilet paper. Make sure you're using paper towel instead. All right, now that the board is finally inside the case, we can proceed to install the AIO. And in order to do that, I'm gonna have to remove these straps so I can get access to the top of the case. We can put the mounting brackets back on the pump. Oh, look at that, beautiful. We do have some thermal paste on the cooler, so we don't need to apply any. Oh no, the cable is aiming down. Ooh, Asus, that's not good. Why would you do that? Why would you have the cable facing down? All right, we are more than halfway done, and I am absolutely in love with this build. Now, before we slap on the graphics card, I do want to kind of spice it up with some RGB strips. So I think I'm gonna throw in a couple of these IQ LS100s. The fused lighting in these looks so damn cool. And I'm gonna try and do something interesting with these. So there's a bunch of space around the motherboard. So I'm gonna try and see if I can kind of outline the motherboard from the bottom to the top. I think it will really pop inside the case. If I can't do that, I'm just gonna add it in around the edges of the case. Okie dokie, so I decided to add a long strip over here on the back of the case. We do have another long one on the top going across the case. We have a shorter 30cm strip in the front, and I did add another 30cm strip in the back on top of the motherboard, if you guys can see that. I don't know how that's gonna look with the lights on, so I might make some adjustments or maybe even remove it altogether once I turn the system on at the end, so that depends. I've also decided to go with the Strimmer Plus. I caved in, you guys. I do love the option of changing the colors to whatever I want, whenever I want, instead of sticking to solid colors, which, you know, I can't change. So I'm gonna go with the 24 pin and the triple 8 pin for the graphics card. So we'll look this up at the end, actually. So another good thing about this case is that it comes with this slidable cable cover. You can basically adjust this and put it wherever you want to cover up the nasty cables over there. So if I plug in my 24 pin and route the cable through in the back like that, it's not gonna look that good, as you guys can see, because there's a huge gap there and you can see right through the case and all the cables as well. So luckily I can slide this all the way, and I think what I'm gonna have to do is wrap around like this. Unfortunately, that's the only way that it's gonna look good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the graphics card. But actually, before we can install that, we do have to hook up the riser cable first. And then this portion plugs into the top PCI slot in the motherboard. I wish they made white riser cables. That'd be really cool too. I just realized this now, but the white front panel extension cables are kind of unnecessary since the riser cable is gonna block that. Actually, the entire graphics card is gonna block that, so these are a little unnecessary. Oh, oh my God, isn't this a thing of beauty? Get the hell off of it. Oh yeah, look at that. Unfortunately, we won't see the back plate since I'll be mounting this vertically, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think this card looks better vertical mode or horizontal? I feel like for this build, vertical is the way to go. So let's pop this in. Did you guys know if you buy the white Strix card, you get this really cool holographic limited edition, I don't know if it's like a collectible card or something, but it comes with the card. And inside this pouch, you get a pretty cool ring. It's a really big ring, but it's got the ROG logo on there, pretty sweet. Last thing to do is hook up the triple 8-pin PCI connectors for the graphics card. I think I'm just gonna plug this in while the graphics card is disconnected. This was not easy, you guys. This was a mission. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there it is. BigRed version 3.5. Although at this point, it should probably be called Big White, considering majority of the color is white. But obviously, once I turn the system on, I'm gonna set all the lights to red. Hence why it'll be Big Red. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna fix up the cables in the back and then power this baby on. All right, guys, all the cables are hooked up. Let's boot this thing on and see what it looks like. This is where my anxiety levels go through the roof. Oh my God, what? Oh, that's so damn gorgeous. All the lights work, yes. All the fans are spinning, except the graphics card, of course. There is no load on the graphics card, so the fans shouldn't be spinning, but oh my God, look at that. AIO's on, RGB strips are looking beautiful. Jesus Christ, that 24 pin is so sick. I know Rainbow Puke isn't everyone's favorite, so this is obviously the default colors. Once I load up an operating system on there, I'm gonna configure the lights and I will see you guys very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, BigRed version 3.5, finally complete. Damn, she is looking so gorgeous. This is hands down my favorite build that I've done on the channel to date. I'm so excited to take this home and play around with it. I'm also going to go through all the lighting settings and pick one that best matches my setup. There are just so many options you can choose from between the Lee software and Corsairs and even Asus. So I kind of just went through quickly and picked something that stood out to me. As you guys can see, there's some red effects going through the fans. I feel like static or solid colors are kind of boring and bland. So, you know, it's pretty cool to add a bit of an effect. Painting the motherboard was such a good option. I feel like that is like the foundation of this entire build and really helped bring everything to life. There's not a single component in here that actually stands out because I feel like every single component in this build works so well together. I've also had the Valley benchmark running for about 30 minutes or so in the office, which also had the heater on, so it's kind of toasty in here. And for temps, we are looking a little under 60C for the graphics card. Oh, looks like it's peaking actually up to 61C. And then for the CPU, it's hovering around 56, maybe a little close to 60 for the CPU. So yeah, overall, very cool temps on this beast of a system. And this is what the PC sounds like, obviously, with the fans fully ramped up. So yeah, overall, very silent system as well. Once I put the side panel on, it's gonna be even more quiet. And for those of you who like the rainbow puke color scheme, here is what the PC looks like with the RGB effect on every single item in here. There's actually one thing I didn't even know about this case, is that the front panel here can also be customized to whatever light you want, so that's pretty cool. And then we have the most popular all white color scheme, which is one of my favorites. I don't know why the Asus products are showing up with a teal tint on there. It's very common across all Asus products when you set it to white. It's weird and it's kind of annoying sometimes, but anyways, what do you guys prefer? All white, rainbow puke, white and red, or retro futuristic, which is also in my top 3. Ah, I love these colors so much. So let me know in the comment section, guys, all white, rainbow puke, white and red, or retro futuristic / synthwave vibes. Let's put the side panel back on. So easy, you could do it with one hand. Final peel. Why is this still on here? Oh God. You know what, I'm just gonna leave this here for now. I'm gonna peel this off later. So yeah, here's what the PC looks like with the side panel. Actually looks so much better with that slight tint on there. I cannot wait to take this home and start using it. In fact, I'll be upgrading my dream gaming setup with this PC, and there'll be a video coming up, guys, sometime in March, I would say. So make sure you are subscribed with notifications on, because you don't want to miss it. So that's pretty much it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, consider backhanding that like button before you head out, as it does help out the channel a ton. And I'll drop a link to all the parts I used for BigRed version 3.5 down below if you guys want to check it out. Guys, I am just getting started. There's so many more cool custom pieces I'm going to be doing on the channel, including some water cooled builds. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications enabled, because you don't want to miss out. Anyways, I'm done talking. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.